I'm Anthony Forrest, the president of Steel Cod, and I'm here with John Beresford, our VP of Sales, ready to discuss all things appliances. All right, John, this is an interesting one because this is obviously a personal vendetta for you, but we are completely in alignment on this one, and that is a liquid detergent is all you should use in your cleaning appliances, for sure. But, that's a tough convincer for most of the audience. So, you got pods, you got powder, liquid. The pods, that's pretty convenient. It's a pretty tasty convenience to take away there until it gets a little wet inside, and then it's a clump of pods that you're cutting apart. But why is detergent even a discussion here?
Yeah, so listen, I'm glad I get to scratch this itch. And normally, listen, we're never in the business of telling people what to do or anything like that, right? But this one I'm going to, all right? But I'm also going to back it up with actual facts here, and I'm going to show you how you can actually use this in an appliance conversation, right? So anytime you're selling a washing machine or a dishwasher, inevitably this comes up in conversation somehow, right? Hey, what do you use for detergent? Or hey, does this take pods or whatever it happens to be? So let's get to the bottom of this thing, okay? This whole thing, and I think a lot of salespeople kind of treat it this way, like I don't care what you use and blah, 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 but this really gets kind of treated like a convenience decision, and it's not, okay? So first we need to clear your thinking there. Don't mistake this. This is a performance decision, okay? And I can tell you definitively the vast majority of people that are out there are getting it wrong, okay? Cleaning appliances are built around very specific sequences, right? Your water enters in, the chemistry activates, and then the mechanical action does the work, whatever cleaning appliance you're using, right? So if the chemistry doesn't activate at the right time, the entire system is going to break down on you, right? Liquid detergent is going to remove the variables for you, okay? Pods and powders are going to introduce all of those things. So once you understand how the machines actually work, the idea that they're all the same, or I don't care what you use, or you could throw anything in there, or whatever it happens to be, falls apart pretty quickly.
So I think breaking down what you just talked about, the actual system behind the performance of a cleaning appliance is really, I think it's really interesting. A lot of engineering has gone into it, but there's also some certain physics that you can't fight in cleaning. I mean, it's
hmm
temperature, product, agitation, and time. Those are your four options. So let's kind of talk through that, and let's start with kind of the dilution timing with these products.
Yeah, I mean, look, these systems are, and to your point, just furthering that, is that these machines are not adaptive the way that people think, right? I mean, they don't correct bad chemistry timing or anything like that. They don't compensate for the incomplete dissolution that we're about to talk about. Liquid detergent is already active the moment that it hits the water, right? There's no delay, there's no barrier, there's no dependency or anything like that. Pods and powders are completely different. A pod has to dissolve its outer film before anything inside of it is going to be usable, right? And then powder has to fully saturate and break down before it can even begin working. I don't even know if people know that, right? So now you've introduced a dependency, right? Water volume, water temperature, spray pattern, cycle timing, right? If any of those things are not ideal, and in modern appliances, they often aren't, you're going to get partial activation at best, which means that the cleaning process is already compromised before your cycle even started.
So you mentioned something quick in there is temperature. And what's interesting is temperature plays such a big role in cleaning that a lot of people don't consider. But how does it affect this conversation?
Yeah, and this is probably where it does get glossed over, right? Because you're right, it matters more now than it ever did. And the reason why is because older machines ran much hotter and used much more water. So if you're using that logic, today's products make sense. I would have been able to use it then. I can use it now. It doesn't work that way, right? They could literally brute force bad detergent behavior back then. Modern machines can't do that, right? Because we're looking at lower water usage, lower temperatures of that water, and then longer cycles as a result. So that means the detergent has to work in a much more controlled, less aggressive environment. And liquid handles that easily, right? Pods and powders, no chance. You run an eco cycle or a cooler wash, let's say, and then suddenly that pod doesn't fully break down, or that powder is going to leave behind residue. And now you've got, well, I should say incomplete cleaning and buildup starting at the same time.
So this one, I really like this one. If anyone has had any service experience that's listening right now, this is the one that they're banging on here with these products, and that is the residue and buildup that happens when you're not using the products properly.
Yep. This is where you get even the staunchest powder in pod people, out of their comfort zone, right? Because this is the part that you can just gloss over and not explain well, and they'll keep making the same mistakes. Here's the thing: undissolved detergent doesn't disappear, right? It stays in the machine. It sticks to the tub. It sticks to the dispenser. It sticks to the filter. All of these internal components that you don't even see. It's sticking to all of that. And then over time, that becomes film and odor and reduced cleaning performance, right? This is why people will start saying down the line, oh, my dishwasher smells, or my washer isn't cleaning like it used to. No kidding. And now they connect it back to what they've been putting into the machine every day once it's too late, once that service problem already pops up. So yeah, it's a big problem.
So that leads to this one, and that is overdosing, and that overdosing is a huge problem for the machine and a huge problem for what you're trying to clean as well.
Yeah, it's funny because this is how pods were marketed, right? When they first came out, they were like, you never have to measure anything again. It perfectly dosed, blah, blah, blah. And this is where pods make everything worse. Okay. Pods are fixed, right? There's no adjustment, right? If it's a small load, same pod. If it's like soil, same pod, right? Powder isn't much better than that, too. I mean, people really eyeball it and almost always use too much. Liquid is really the only format that's out there that can let you match to the load size or the soil level or the cycle type, right? Too much detergent doesn't clean better. We just talked about that in the last section, right? It actually reduces rinse effectiveness and it leaves way more residue behind. So now you've got all that residue building up faster, not slower.
So this last one is it's been touched on a little bit here, is that, appliances are not just this fixed thing, that they are a system, like we've mentioned a number of times. And
Yeah.
the product that you're using to assist the system needs to be a accompaniment to it and not something it has to fight against.
Yeah, I mean, simply put, think about it. Your system, when you're talking about a system that's perfect, right? Water flow, spray pressure, cycle timing, all of this. It's all designed around very predictable, or it needs very predictable chemical behavior. Liquid behaves very predictably. We've already proven that out, right? Pods and powders definitely don't. So when people say my machine isn't performing the way that I expected it to, what they're really experiencing is a mismatch between the system and what they're feeding it. So skip all of those other things, right? Pods and powders don't work. These new machines that are out there, they need predictable behavior, which means predictable chemistry. And liquid is the only one that can deliver that.
So, John, I'm an appliance salesperson. This is a great podcast of information here on liquid detergent. I don't sell liquid detergent, though I do sell the products that would use those liquid detergent. How far
Yep.
am I taking this conversation with the customer? How deep am I going with this to let them know the importance of a potential change in how they purchase detergent?
Yeah. If you don't want to go into that whole diatribe that I just did, I mean, the walk away here is they at least have to understand that liquid activates immediately. Okay. It works across a wider temperature range, and it allows for proper dosing. If you can remember those three things, I think that that's super important, right? I mean, consistency matters more than convenience, right? The drop and go and not have to think about it and all that kind of stuff. Because once you lose control of the chemistry of the whole thing, you're actually going to lose control of the result of not only that load, but also the consistency of your machine long term. So, I mean, those are the things that you really need to articulate. And trust me, we always talk about those moments in a sale where you can prove your work to somebody. Don't be afraid to push back here because you're actually protecting them from long term. So, just like we talk about these moments in time where you can adopt and really create some authority over the decision making, this is one of those. Don't be afraid to push back as long as your logic is sound and you can prove it out as to the reason why. People like these things because it's convenience first, and nobody told them to trade off to that convenience. If you can tell them that trade off, well, you'd be surprised how far that can take you.
And another piece of that it adds to that is it definitely builds the trust with the customer, because when you tell the customer about something that you don't gain from, you're not selling them any detergent, and
Right.
maybe you actually hurt from because they're not coming back to buy an appliance sooner because they're maintaining their appliance better. That really does help build that trust level with them. That can only help the sale.
100%. Yep. No, and I mean, that's definitely, I mean, you'll be surprised at how little insights like this in little ways where a customer can obviously see the shift in the conversation where it's like, wow, he's protecting an outcome for me that he's not even invested in. I already gave him my money at this point, but he's still protecting my investment long term by trying to guide me down the right path. Yeah, you not only earned their next purchase, but you earned everybody they know's next purchase. Go see this person, right? Everybody needs an appliance person at some point in their life. So be that person. I mean, if you can protect those outcomes for them down the road, especially where, to your point, you're not financially invested in it at that point anymore. I mean, that shows, I mean, that you're a real product advisor at that point, and you're out for everybody's best interest. It's huge. It's a huge step to earn trust.
Yeah. And if you want any more information on this, it's johnsliquiddetergent.com. It's John's Liquid. John would know it's liquiddetergent.com. Anything else on this one, John?
No, I think I scratched that itch successfully, hopefully.
All right. We drop a new episode every day of the week, including weekends. Don't forget to rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.